Hi everybody, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today's episode of What's on the Table is long overdue. I've been neglecting keeping up a hobby log with the work and craziness. It's just been a madhouse here. So I finally got to put some paint to plastic, and I thought I would share my current project with you. So if you don't recognize what you see in front of you, that's okay. This is a Leopard 1 tank from the Team Yankee game. These were used by the West Germans. Well, they're used by a ton of NATO forces. So I decided to knock out a whole group of them. So you see three. Well, I've got 10 of them. So these are not completed, but they're getting very close. They still need some weathering. I still need to paint the commanders. I need to paint the machine guns. But they're good enough to kind of show off what I've done and kind of just give you an overview. First off, the Leopard 1, I'm probably going to do a unit overview for this as well. Leopard 1 has a pretty good gun, terrible armor, front armor 9, but they're cheap as chips, and they're used by a lot of forces. So by having some Leopard 1s, it opens the door playing, you know, anything from the West Germans to the Canadians to, I think, the Australians used them, the Dutch, the Nordic forces that are going to be coming out soon that Battlefront has plugged, make use of the Leopard 1 quite a lot. So I thought now would be a good time to assemble and build them and get some paint on them in preparation, not just for the Nordic forces, but to flesh out my West Germans as well. So I went with kind of a generic NATO camo for the most part. And I think it turned out pretty well. My recipe for this is I actually airbrushed the base coat on here using, what did I use? Oh yeah, this Vallejo NATO Green surface primer. And then I thought about doing the camo with airbrush. My friend Sean, who you might see in various battle reports, loves the airbrush, and he is much more skilled than I as far as not just overall painting, but airbrush application as well. I just used a regular old brush for the camo on here. Then I used, what did I use? Nuln oil. Oh yeah, Nuln oil for the shading in the recesses and panel lines, and then a dry brush of, in this case I used Iraqi sand as a dry brush. You can kind of see there on the very edges and on the turret, just kind of picking that out. The NATO turned out a little bit less vibrant than I wanted. I'm sure it's more accurate, but I did make the green a little bit more vibrant by adding a little bit of this Warpstone glow to the NATO green to liven it up a little bit, almost like an olive green, if you will. So I get them to this state. I don't paint, particularly because I know a dry brush stage is coming. I don't paint with the machine guns glued on, so I save those for later. So that's why the machine gun is just the default green plastic right now. But then after I'm done with that, I glue the machine guns on. I dry brush these guys white because I'm probably just going to contrast paint them, the commanders, and then I will put on some kind of unifying weathering, some, you know, European dust or something from MIG that's like a pigment. But for the most part, these are pretty much almost there. I do need to highlight a few little things here and there, but overall I'm pretty pleased. The Leopard 2 does have two ways you can assemble it. One is like a cast turret, and the other, I believe, is like a welded turret. So the cast turret is nice and rounded like that, and that's what I built most of these as, because I think they look cooler. But I did build one of the kind of more square turret, just so I could have it, and this is probably going to be my company commander or 2IC if I'm running this as a company. But I do like the rounded turret more. I think it has more, it's got more surface detail, and visually I think it's just a little bit more interesting, and I like the round turret. It looks pretty good. But anyway, there you go. That's what's on the table. You can look forward to a Leopard 1 unit overview coming soon, but otherwise I'm going to keep plugging away at these guys, and hopefully you'll see them on the tabletop soon. All right, everyone, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.